Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night to all of you might be on this or listening to this. My name is Peter J. Redding, and we're going to be exploring life. Any questions that you have is going to be interactive as much as you are willing to have it be interactive. I will share some of my musings from this past week to get us started. And this is an opportunity to hopefully be inspired, hopefully be informed, hopefully be instructed, and hopefully be more alive. Big announcement this week has been from my world of coaching. The International Coaching Federation has announced that it's going to basically streamline the coach training venues and avenues, get rid of a lot of the old terminology that was very confusing to almost everybody, including me. And also a rededication to the rigor, to the professionalism, to the ensuring that coach trainers worldwide, globally, are actually, doing what they're supposed to be doing. So it's literally day 2 now. They announced it yesterday. They're going to replace the ACTP and the ACSTH nomenclature to level 1, level 2, which is much more understandable. And it will be much more in alignment with preparing individuals to be that want to move into the accreditation or to the credentialing process with the International Coaching Federation much easier and more easily understood. So I can answer questions a little bit about that. Like I say, it's just been announced yesterday officially. I was involved with the task force that helped make some recommendations last year to the board. So I know maybe a little bit more than the common Joe, but not much more in terms of how it's going to actually be implemented. But I can point you in the right direction. Okay. And then talk about life. What's things that are coming up in life that you'd like to have. So this is just free access to Peter Redding for what that's worth. And you can ask any questions about coaching, about learning, about life, about whatever's on your mind. So welcome specifically Vivek, Charles, and Alana, who I see that's with me in the Zoom room right now. And let me get my chat box up so I can actually read this. And Cello will be taking things from YouTube live and putting it over into my chat box. So I will get that up and running. And there we have it. Super, super, super. Excuse me. And I see we are going live. I also want to hit I'm going to hit the record button on Zoom just so that we can make sure that we have a backup if we require that. Hit the wrong button. There it is. Alrighty. All set and ready to go. So welcome. Any questions that come in immediately? And if not, I will talk a little bit about the ICF announcement from yesterday. Alana's got a question. Peter, could you speak more about how you see coaching in the sphere of support professions in comparison to other professions? Are you referring, Alana, to how is it different than therapy, or how is it different than trainers, or how is it different than people that are mentoring? Is that the comparison that you're looking for? And if you want to come on verbally, you can come on verbally.
Yes, that, Peter. Thank you.
Okay. ICF, well, professional coaching that's been around and articulated quite brilliantly, actually, over the last 25 years, has said that coaching is creating a safe space and a partnering space for a coach to support an individual to explore for themselves what course of decision making they want to be on, what action steps that they may want to execute on. And the focus is on the client. Excuse me. Focus is on the client and the client knowing their own best answer, as opposed to a mentor who is, it used to be an elder, but it's not that anymore. It's whoever has more information about what their mentee wants to be mentored on. So we've had the concept of reverse mentoring now for the last 20 years, where a younger person that knows more about, for example, technology, could do reverse mentoring on someone that's older, that is not in touch with that level of technology, as an example. So the mentor concept is that I am smarter than you, I'm more experienced than you, I'm wiser than you, and I would love to support you to learn the things that I know, or to be able to navigate an organization or a career or a whatever, how to publish a book, how to write a book, because I've already done that, and so I can help you, I can mentor you. Coaching says is more of an inquiry, of asking questions of the client. So what's the motivation behind wanting to write a book? What's the motivation of wanting to be, go to the next level of career development? The same thing in terms of therapy. The difference between coaching and therapy is therapy tends to look at what's happened in the past of that person's life that has been traumatized or caught, that the client can't get over, or having a difficult time in dealing with, processing, and they're professionally trained to do that. Coaches are not professionally trained to work with people that need a therapist or a psychotherapist or a psychologist. The assumption for coaching, professional coach, is that the individual is responsible and can be responsible for living and making decisions about their own life moving forward. Now, it doesn't mean that they're completely devoid and healed of all past traumas and dramas. Certainly not the case. But is a client willing to take responsibility now to make a decision to move forward? If the answer to that is yes, then great. Let's start coaching. If they run into issues that call up from the past of things that they have not yet processed or let go of or gotten over, then it's appropriate for the professional coach to refer out that client and say, I'm not trained to work with this part of what's going on for you. It sounds like you were victimized, again, in whatever fashion that might be for that particular client. It could be mentally, it could be physically, it could be emotionally, it could even be spiritually, from a past event or past trauma, and that would be referenced, referred out to a professional. So a coach bottom line of a coach is we don't give advice. 99.9% of the time, we will not give advice. We'll allow the client to work it out for themselves. We will allow the client to go at their own pace. We'll allow the client to determine what they are willing to do, what they're willing to explore, how deeply they're willing to explore that for themselves. And by continuing to hold that safe space, what I call sacred space. And what we found in the last 25 years of professionals that can do this and are willing to do this being professional modern day coaching, the client, the coachee, begins to a rapid and accelerated and a exponentially accelerated personal development for being a better human being. Well, even though their topic might be how do I become a better leader? How can I become a better spouse? How can I be a better human being? Because it is so customized, and it develops the internal mechanisms of an individual that says, I do have the capability. I do have the capacity to enact something that I've maybe been afraid of or even talking about previously, because it flies in the face of what they have been told who they have to be or how they have to go about doing something. And so my observation, my own clients or my own students and the sessions that I listen to from a certification standpoint, clients become more emboldened. I can do this. I want to do this. I'm committing to myself to do this, whatever this might be for that particular client. They try it out. Wow, that felt really good. I think I'll do more of that. I think I want to continue this journey of becoming a better mom, being a better dad, being a better executive, being a better author, being, again, whatever they're in. To become a coach, to be able to hold that space sounds like it might be simple, but it is my experience, at least a 1-year process, sometimes 2-year process for enough unlearning to take place from that previously subject matter expert, leader, trainer, educator, authority figure, to not intervene, to allow that client to, sometimes, some cases, struggle. It's a classic butterfly, caterpillar to butterfly analogy here. Sometimes an individual has to struggle to get out of their old paradigm, their old way of thinking, to embrace a new way of thinking. And if I tried to rescue you, let me tell you what to do. Let me tell you what not to do. Let me tell you how to handle this situation with your spouse. Now, I've just continued their dependence on somebody else telling them what to do, and there's little or no self-development happening there. So let me stop, take a breath. What do you hear in all of that, Alana, that resonates for you?
I really like your emphasis on what's so unique about coaching and going back to the assumption that the individual is responsible, capable. And I suppose my question came from, I've been hearing a lot recently from therapists, like, oh, therapy doesn't have to be just for when you're in crisis and doesn't have to be more the extreme as people tend to think of it as. Mm-hmm. And so it's almost, I think that kind of, what I've seen is more of a comparison between, well, what's the difference between coaching and therapy if therapy doesn't have to be more of the extreme cases, if that distinction makes sense. So just wanting to further, I don't know, maybe give more words to my articulation, I suppose.
Mm. Yeah, and there's a huge range of therapy and therapists in the world, and I honor all of them, by the way. Again, coaching has never wanted to, nor in fact, ethically, we're obligated to not do therapy, period. So, I mean, it's real clear, cut and dry for me. If client is stuck and they're stuck to a point where they need to have someone go through and actually support them through the process of that, whether it's a current day trauma or from childhood drama, then yeah, let's make sure that they get the proper support from a support professional that is trained to do that. There's some overlaps that early on in the profession of coaching, some took the real, kind of a narrow version of, if they're talking about their feelings, then that's the realm of the therapist. Well, that's crazy. That's obviously not true. Healthy human beings are still emotional. At least I hope so. So that's not the definitiveness. The definitiveness for me is, are they stuck? Are they stuck at a kind of a clinical level? If they're stuck, everybody gets stuck and say, or gets afraid. I don't know if I can go forward. I don't know if I can have that kind of conversation with my mother-in-law. I don't think I have that conversation with the big boss at work. That's 2 levels up and everybody's scared to death of her. That's not necessarily the realm of the therapist. It might be rooted in something of an authority figure from childhood or, whatever. So, but most of the time it's, do I have the gumption? Do I have the guts? Do I have the wherewithal? Do I have the confidence to confront whomever? In a lot of cases, themselves. But if it's somebody outside themselves, the coach will ask a question: are you ready to take on a commitment to do that? And they can say yes or no to that. And that's okay, either way. But we do not go into, okay, so when was the first time in childhood that you were abused, or you were influenced by, or you were controlled by a authority figure? We don't go there. That for me is therapy, and that needs someone that's trained to know what to do with that. Yeah. So thank you for the question. And thank you for the sensitivity of when a client may need to, stop coaching around that topic and go to a therapist or a trained professional. Yeah. Let's see another question here that goes back to, I think, the coaching question. I'm recently a graduate of ICA, and now I wish to be ICF accredited. Can you kindly explain which exam is needed? Am CPC qualified, 125 hours. If the program that you went through, and I'm pretty sure the ICA is an ACTP program through the ICF. And so if they are, then you will and you have a graduating certificate or certification from ICA at the 125-hour level. They would have been required to put you through a PCC marker assessment, formal PCC marker assessment. If they're not associated with the ICF, then you will apply to the ICF through the probably the portfolio, and then you'll have to, quote, justify or write, these are the courses that I took. This is the progression of learning. These are the ICF competencies that were taught to me or I learned at each of these levels. And the progression of the learning and the mentoring. There's a whole bunch of criteria that is beyond the scope of where we're at today in this session. But it is possible to become ICF certified or credentialed. It's a longer process if the organization that you initially took your training through is not affiliated with the ICF. That's the simplest answer to that. And there's still a way to apply for credentialing through the ICF. It can't be through the application that says ACTP on it, because ACTPs, if you will, have been pre-approved rigorously by the ICF to say, how are you teaching ICF competencies? How are you teaching the ICF ethics? How are you progressing from beginner to middle to advanced? And you know, there are a number of those programs that are worldwide available. If you're listening to this and looking at coach training, I highly encourage you to look at programs that are ICF affiliated and ICF accredited. And again, just as of literally yesterday, today is 16 November 2021. Yesterday, they announced that they're going to change the nomenclature of those programs to level 1, level 2, and level 3. Okay. So you'll be looking for that, and you'll be looking for if you've already done trainings before with a program, you'll be looking for the ACTP or the ACSTH. And I won't describe for the rest of the audience what all that means. Yeah. And thank you for being a professional coach. And thank you for, I think ICF, it really does hold a gold standard, and they are dedicated to even making it more rigorous in the future. So, and I so applaud that. Yeah, because to be a professional coach is really, really important for the planet's health. It is, for me, it's just that plain. Yeah. Okay, I see A is affiliated, so we'll send the request. Thank you. Yeah, good. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So what's happening in life? Do you want to talk about, have you embraced all of who you are, all of who you truly were created to be? So I talk about core self as opposed to conditioned self. And for me, they're two entirely different things in my case. Well, they're 90% different. 10% was, the conditioning I received from my loving parents. And I had 2 loving parents, and I'm blessed to have had 2 loving parents. I know everybody doesn't experience that. And 90% of who I am today is remembering who I was created to be by my creator, not by my genetics, not by my culture, not by my generation, but by my creator. And how do I align with that? How do I remember who I am when I'm making decisions, when I'm making my plans, when I'm looking at the aspirations and looking at that from a standpoint of, are these ones that are coming from my desire to fulfill my life's purpose, my life's work that creator gave me? I believe that everybody has been endowed with that, not just me, not just the lucky ones, not just people that are, in a particular culture, but every human being I believe has that. And how do I remember? Because I'm still human. I forget. And I teach this stuff. I create this stuff. It's part of what I do. So I've got Coach for Life on here. That's a coach training. Let me put up my CoreSELFie thing here. Just 1 second. I may blink here back and forth a bit. Okay. So CoreSELFie. This is a free resource that's available to the world, and it talks a lot about the core self in terms of who you are at the core of your being. And several exercises are frankly really clever, and it came through Spirit for me, and I make them now available to the world. Highly encourage you to go here if you haven't been here before, to know who you really are, and now do the best I can to live in alignment with that. And I'd love to hear ideas from each of you in terms of, how do you remind yourself, am I operating or deciding or speaking from a place of core, or am I speaking from a place of old conditioning? I'm supposed to show up this way in social media. I'm supposed to show up this way in family events. I'm supposed to be this way as a professional, as opposed to what I consider the most authentic way of being is your core self. And do I have do I remember? And two, do I have the courage to actually do that? Or do I still fall back into maybe it's just safer. I better not say this about what I really want to do in my life or what I want to do with my life. It's just better to be safer, especially around family or people that might get upset because I'm going off in a direction that they don't understand, or I'm claiming to be who I really was created to be. And I get it. I was there for half of my life. And it wasn't so bad. I got fed. I got good work. It wasn't fulfilling, but it was comfortable. And I know a lot of people settle on, my greatest aspiration in life is to be comfortable. I get it. You're not ready for being uncomfortable, even if it brings a greater sense of fulfillment or a promise of greater sense of fulfillment. And for me, that's sad, but I get it. Yeah. Charles had something up here, and I want to come back to my comments here. What resources are available to introduce someone to the advantages of coaching, ideally at no cost? I think that's still a sort of a dream for most of us, that it can be democratized to the point of getting free coaches training as well as free coaching. And we're moving in that direction, but not very fast. There are nonprofits that provide coaching, professional coaching, the kind of coaching that we've been talking about here. But typically it's to a particular group or within a particular city or locale. And I've met a number of those people, beautiful people, and they provide really high value for like women that are coming out of abusive relationships, like halfway houses, that type of thing. Coaches for people that are been incarcerated or are still incarcerated within a prison system, or just coming out of that. So there's spots, there's a kind of light spots around the world that are doing that kind of work, but not universally. Yeah, we're working towards that. Great, actually brilliant free self-discovery and advancement resources available at CoreSELFtech.com. So thank you for that. Yeah. Arsena saying this is an amazing service to humanity, Peter. Thank you, Arsena. And you talk about a bright light. There's one right there in India that is working in the nonprofit arena already, and the civic arena of India, doing amazing work as a professional coach, and as a professional leader, and as a professional inspirer. So, yeah, thank you.
Here is Sanjeev. Can I?
Angie, yes, love hearing your voice.
Thank you. Um, First of all, I just been talking directly to you, so I can express my sincere gratitude to you in my journey. We started about 1.5 years back, and you have been hand-holding me, and of course, helping me and directing me. uh, I'll not say directing me. Your presence has made me to just touch the first milestone. Um, I don't know how to express in my words, but I mean it. Whatever I'm trying to express through words. Um, I know how to say again in words, but yes, I will try to
Okay.
say that I am living the life which meets my own purpose, discovered through core selfie, and other processes, the foundation sessions and others.
Hmm.
I'm also being in a position today to help many with or without, professionally means commercially, non-commercially, both. My first milestone achievement itself is being a query for lot many who are trying to achieve here. And they've been talking to me now after that, asking a lot many questions. And I'm trying to give that comfort back to them that they can do it. If I can do it, they can definitely do it. It's as
Good.
simple as that for them.
Beautiful. Thank you.
And, yes. So, yes, I know that I have to do a lot in my life because miles to go. But believe me, your presence makes me and gives me the comfort. And thank you for being in my life. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Sanjeev. Appreciate that. I received that 100%. I really do. Thank you. Yeah, if there's an example of a lost soul to a fully empowered, fully fulfilled, or as fulfilled as I could possibly be, I own that. I am that. And so I hope that inspires those of you that are on that same journey or starting that journey. Because when I came from, I've referred so many times that when 37, I was basically an unconscious human being. I was just going through the motions. I was doing what I was told to do. I was working as I was told to do. At 37 years old, I probably had accumulated enough working hours that most people wouldn't obtain until they were 70 years old. True story. I mean, it's like I worked double time from the time that I was 14 years old forward. I had my own business at 14. I had installment payments I made on a snowblower to, Sears and Roebuck, if anybody knows that store. It's like a big department store. It used to be. And we bought a snowblower, and we lived in New England, and I had my own business. And I had to make monthly payments on that snowblower. 14. So anyhow, I'm saying at 37, I was a workaholic. I was corporations loved me because I worked so hard, and I was fairly bright. But I didn't have a personal life. And when I started getting into self-awareness work, self-development work, after about, I don't know, probably a year, 2 years into it, I honestly said, it's like, this is too freaking hard. Let me go back to the comfort of being obtuse, being unconscious, living, I was comfortable before, and now I'm not comfortable at all. All the questions that are going through my head in terms of what I'm supposed to be doing or who I am, I had no concept of any of that. It was just freaking hard, courageous work to own who I really was. And I didn't have the tools then that I have now. I think it's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about doing this work now is to provide the actual tools. I mean, if you're trying to get back to who you really are, then who am I really? And how, I didn't have an answer for that, and I didn't have a pathway to that other than to pray. That was the only pathway I had. Pray to God. And I did that. And either, he was probably answering, give him credit, but I didn't have the ears to listen. I didn't have the energy to listen. It was incredibly frustrating, just amazingly frustrating. It probably took me 6 or 7 years to kind of break through that again, going from the caterpillar to the butterfly analogy. But it was a big ooze in the middle. I just kept my nose to the grindstone as I knew I could, and started looking at codependency was one of the issues that I was dealing with. Being a workaholic was another one. Knowing who I really was and accepting who I really was and loving who I really was and was created to be was all part of that journey for me. So I applaud the people that are willing to do that work. And, when Sanjeev acknowledges me like that and says, my presence has supported him in his journey, that just, thank you. Thank you, God, for allowing me to do my work and hopefully inspiring, millions of people to be able to do that for themselves. It is so worth it. It is so incredible. I couldn't imagine the bliss, the sense of fulfillment, the sense of solidarity within me, of the confidence of knowing that I am on the right track, doing this, doing my coach training, developing the tools at CoreSELFtech, being inspired to come up with an inspired learning model that we've been using now for 25 years that has just revolutionized adult learning. I mean, it just has. If you can imagine, I've lost track, but 4,000, maybe 5,000 now students over the last 25 years. And having, if my recollection, maybe not 2%, 2 people come through our training and leave in the middle of it because it scared the hell out of them. They weren't ready for that level of self-commitment. And the other 3,998 people have learned more in 4 or 5 days than they ever have in any other 4 or 5 day period in their lifetime, because of the safe space, the non-critique based learning, all from Spirit. All that came through Marsha and I back in 1995. So and there's so much more. It's like I'm just starting life. I really started life at 37, and I'm really starting, the payback, the paying it forward, the contributing, the inspiring, hopefully generations to come, with a part of, even if it's not doing what I did or becoming a coach, but just knowing that you are a precious and amazingly precious human being on the planet that desperately needs your uniqueness, to be able to embrace that however you do that. If I can spark the idea that you are special, you belong. I've heard in the last 2 weeks from various sources, I just don't think I belong on a planet. I've been brought up to think that I don't belong here. And it brings tears to my eyes. It's not right. Yeah, so you do belong, and I'm so happy you're here. What else we got here? So, Sarai, thank you for all of that. Yeah, I see the woohoos and so good that I popped in. Yeah. So what else is on your mind? What other questions might you have, or if you don't have any questions, I'll ask you a question, because I'm a professional coach. That's what I do. What do you do to remember who you are? What do you do to remember who you are? Once you know who you are, and I know that most of the people that are on with me, live, personal right now, have gone through processes that I've supported them through. But how do you remember that? You learned it a year ago, 6 months ago, 6 days ago. How do you remember that? Charles, you're awesome. Well, on Tuesdays, I come here every day in my morning meditation or Arshana. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I like a mechanism. I actually have a printed copy. I don't know if I've got one right here. I think I used it over the training in the last week. So I've kind of switched places on it, but I have an actual printed out. I have to see it in front of me. I'm a visual guy. So I see that and it's like, yeah, that's who I am. I want to use that as the filter. I want to use that as the looking glasses. I want to look at when I have an important question, how, like right now, I'm looking at 2022. I've already got, I probably have 60% of it already scheduled, believe it or not. I mean, by day, the hour, this time on Monday through Friday, I am going to be doing this, or I'm going to be doing that. So right now I'm going to, I want to schedule time for Peter. All right. Take a week away someplace, just go off on a trip, maybe visit family, maybe go to a woodworking workshop, which is one of my hobbies, as most of you know, and just get away. So how do I schedule that? And how can I bring my core self into that? How do I schedule 2022 in a manner that is congruent with who I am, what I'm here to do, what I'm here to contribute? Another suggestion here is by checking at night how much I live by my core self that day. Wow. Love that one. Love that one. I meditate and open my heart to possibilities. Lovely. Yeah. There's so much inner guidance, inner knowledge that comes through from spirit or whatever you call that when I'm quiet. Some people get it through walking in nature, being with a loved one, curling up with your cat or a book or something, just in a quiet space and time and space for yourself. Taking that time, getting reconnected. Spending time around people that inspire you. One of the things that I don't do is I don't watch news anymore. I was thinking the other day of when 9/11 hit. That was a coaching day for me, and I had not heard about it because I don't watch the morning news or the evening news or newspapers. And a client called and said, "We're under attack." I said, "What are you talking about?" I mean, so it's been. I did watch the presidential elections. I got kind of addicted to that and did some binge watching for 3 days on, who my new leader was going to be in the United States. But beyond that, I don't watch news. So there's two parts of this for me. One is what I don't do, and if you will, shield myself or remove myself from the dialogue of negativity, the dialogue of the world is going to hell in a handbasket, because I don't believe that. And I believe that 90% of the world is actually loving, caring, compassionate, want the best for their neighbor, want their best for their family, want their best for their colleagues at work, want to contribute in a positive, life-affirming way. I believe that. It just doesn't get reported. What gets reported is what's not working. So I take that out. What I do is hang around with people like you guys that are looking at life-affirming way of approaching life, wanting to contribute even more than you already are. Yeah. One of our person, I don't even own a TV. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So hanging out with really good conscious friends, following life affirming habits, eating habits, praying habits, meditation habits, journaling habits that clears the clutter and opens up to what's next for me. What am I here to do this week? What am I here to do today? How congruent is that with fulfilling my life's work, my life's purpose, showing up authentically? I'm not perfect. I've often said I'm perfectly imperfect. Those are great questions to contemplate. And the more that I am myself, the happier I am, and the more alive I feel. Yeah. Incredible. Incredible. I had no concept of this at 37. No concept whatsoever. And please don't wait until you're 37 if you're getting an inkling of wanting to know yourself better at that, 22, 18, 14, 31. You don't have to wait until you're 37 to go through midlife crisis. For a lot of us, that's the impetus of what's it all about? Am I on the right track? Yeah. Have you incorporated mindfulness practices in your life or coaching? That's a great question. It's one, actually, again, I keep going back to the ICF. I love the ICF, been a member of it for 20, 25 years now, 26 years. And they actually are requiring professional coaches to bring a mindfulness practice into their lives, to become a better coach, because you can't become a more masterful coach if you're not a more masterful human being. You just can't. You can be a beginner coach and stay as a beginner coach for the rest of your life if you choose not to do any personal growth stuff. And there'll be some people that you'll be able to support. But 90% of who I am as a coach right now is attributed to my self-mastery. Do I have compassion for myself so much that I've stopped judging myself for not being perfect? There's a question for you. And if not, then I can't bring that space to my client. It's not that I teach them that. It's not that I preach them that, but they can feel that energy from me. It's like, you can talk about anything you want. It's okay with me. You're safe. I'm not going to judge you. Regardless of what you share, regardless of what your crisis you're going through, regardless of how you're currently judging yourself even, you can explore that with me. You can unravel that. You can debunk that. You can change your mind about what you want to do around that with no pressure, no judgment, no nothing from me other than safe space to speak it out loud and determine for yourself what is it that you want to do with this, and are you ready for doing something about it now or not? And again, either one is okay. Yeah. So professional coaches, again, an ICF professional coach must do it for themselves and continue doing it for themselves. That's self-reflection of how did I do in that coaching session? How am I doing? Am I bringing my stuff into it? Is there something that came up that is applicable to me and my journey, my life's journey? Write that down. My students know that there's a little pad over there that says my stuff. right? So if I get activated by anger, if I get activated by confusion, if I get activated by not belonging, if I get activated by sexuality, if I get activated by culture, if I get activated by whatever that might be, my stuff, something I need to look at and reflect on, journal about, process in a way that I process. Yeah, all of that. All of that. So where are we? We have about 8 minutes here. Any other burning questions or shares or ahas or anything at all that anybody would like to share? For those of you that are on Zoom, you can just unmute yourself or you can type it up in the chat box. I'm just going to go back up in my chat box, see if I caught everything. Oh, Alana's got something I missed, I think. I remember by using my emotions as a guide or a compass to my alignment with my core self. I view them as a way to let me know where I am. Love that. Yeah. When I'm congruent with myself, I feel really good inside. Oh, what a surprise, right? It's like, oh, duh. That's what it's like. Yep, I'm on course. I feel good. I can go, I sleep soundly. There's nothing that's bugging me or bothering me. It's like I did the best I could today. I did my work. I contributed what I'm here to contribute. Wow. Thank you, God, for giving me that work to do. When I don't feel good, my guts quite literally are the guide, the internal guidance system. I've been listening a lot on YouTube that's talking about the direct connection and almost the immediate connection between things like IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, and that sort of whole genre, or having gut pains, or having things going on literally in the gut, is attributable to something that I am worried about in my real life right now. So if I'm frustrated, if I'm angry, if I'm this or if I'm that, or if I'm judging somebody else, there is a physicality that gets manifested. And if it continues that way, it becomes chronic. Because the human body system can't handle all that stress. There's just too many things going on then in terms of endorphins, in terms of the chemistry, and I don't understand any of it, frankly, and I'm not a scientist. But if you continue to abuse the body will take you out. It will force you to slow down, rest, get sleep, hydrate, go to the hospital so that you don't have any more scheduling issues. You have to be in this bed. You have to heal your body. So, yeah, I love the interconnection there, Alana. Very insightful. The body will tell. The body is I'm not so sure it's an early warning indicator or the immediate indicator of I am living on track with who I'm meant to be. Hip, hip, hooray. Good for you. Keep up the good work. And if you're not, pay attention. What else is going on that is an indicator that, maybe, Peter, time to slow down. Maybe it's time to relax. Maybe it's time to take care of yourself. Maybe it's time to go have some hydration. Maybe it's time to breathe. It sounds so simple. It sounds so incredibly simple. And it really does get reduced to that. So, all right, let me just check my notes here one last time and we'll wrap it up for the day. Alon saying, yes, I believe that it comes as physical manifestations at some point. Must hop off now for a session. And she goes off to coach another beautiful human being. Thank you for doing that work. Yeah. So here's the message I'm going to leave with you, and we'll sign off, is once you know who you are, and hopefully you've done that through, again, CoreSELFie. Where is it here? There we go, right there, CoreSELFie.com. If you don't do all 6 processes, do the first one. It'll change your life. And once you know that, now you have a compass, you have a measurement of, am I living that? And that's the second part of this whole process. I can know about myself, but if I don't do anything about it, then I can continue try to be faking being, a version of someone else. And so my question to you that I leave you with is, once you know who you are, truly are, who you were created to be by your creator, what do you have in place to remind you on hopefully a daily basis, ongoing basis? And number 2, when you have found that you have lived in alignment with yourself, do you allow yourself to celebrate that? Do you allow yourself to really absorb the magnitude of gratitude, the appreciation of, dear God, thank you for me being me, allowing me to be me, and doing my work in congruence and alignment with how you designed me. And I honor you for that. And I honor myself and acknowledge myself, not trying to be humble, not trying to be hubris, but wow, I am humbled to be me. So with that, thank you for showing up this week. We'll be back next week, same time, same station. Bring your questions, bring your curiosities, bring your suggestions. And with that, stay safe. God bless. Namaste. Bye for now.